of the federal shutdown, is people are coming to us that want us to spend to replace the federal money. We don't have that kind of pockets that the federal government has, or the borrowing capacity that they have now. New York and a few states have paid, like, to reopen the Statue of Liberty because of the tourism dollars. They think it's still worth it. And to some degree, I mean, it's not a total cost to them because there will be some revenue that would have dried up if they just left it closed. So several states have been able to do that. But we were talking the other day that, we're getting a lot of pressure because the fuel assistance money is in
winter's
question.
coming,
Yeah.
and let's
Having
face
cool
it,
weather.
we've got a whole bunch of people who don't have disposable income.
And for them, $500,000, whatever it may be, toward their oil costs is a big benefit. And even then, sometimes they run out near the end of the season if we have a cold winter.
But if you run out of oil and your pipes freeze, then, pardon my French, you're really naffed because...
Then you have a bigger expense and a bigger mess to clean up.
And it just goes round and round the mulberry bush. You never get out of it.
No. So, I mean, there are things you can do although it's tougher as you get older to do it, in the sense of dressing a little more warmly and not having it cranked up.
Well, looking like the Michelin Man, put on eight
pretty
sweaters.
Much. I don't know if that you want to live that way, but we could stand a little bit lower than perhaps we have, but and try to stretch it a little longer. But you still need some help. I'm really impressed by the work of so many of our food banks around the area. Just about every town has at least one. And they keep telling me that even though we kind of are getting better from a recession standpoint, there still hasn't been a lot of jobs created, and as a result, and even the people who are working aren't necessarily making what they were making 2 or 3 years ago. And so they come to the food banks for a little help to ease their grocery costs, especially if they have kids and have a family. And every one of them is saying that the demand has increased, and the food banks are local. It's almost like our old welfare system, which was local at one time, up until, I guess, 1960 or so, when Boston needed some help, and so it gets shifted over to the state. But they know many of these people, and they know what their lifestyle has been or is now, and so I think that while there's always the potential that somebody goes in and asks for something that they probably could afford on their own, they'd be cutting out some other activity perhaps. But most of the ones that they know who, and most people have enough pride to not want to go to their neighbor and say, I need a handout, if they don't really need a handout, because it's embarrassing to some of them to have to do that. Thank God we have the system in place that's helping to do that.
But even that, you start looking at the people who are marginal.
Yep.
You're going to have a percentage that will need help, period, end of story. But I worry more about the middle, where I was okay, and now all of a sudden you're pushing me to a point where, I think it's right to give 2 cans of beans to the food pantry, but my family needs one of those cans.
Yeah.
So I'll give 1 can of beans, or one whatever.
Yep.
Well, in a poor food pantry, when John was on Fernandez, he mentioned the government services are the only inverse related, that the worse it gets, the more you need.
Right.
So as the economy gets worse, you don't cut back on services because more people need them.
Exactly.
Yet more people can't help.
And more people struggle to pay taxes to make that happen too. So it's and businesses are not doing as well, so they're not contributing as much in their tax revenue as they would have in good times.
And isn't that how we build the rainy day fund? When the economy comes back.
Yeah. Then
we don't count on it.
You don't spend it all.
Right. You don't count on the level, so all of a sudden, hey, we've got some extra.
Yeah. Well, we have, I think, appropriately, one of the things up until not this last recession, but the one before, we were spending most of our capital gains in the operating budget, and that goes up and down.
Yes.
Some years it's great, and some years it's not so good. And so now we have capped how much can go into the budget, and anything else has to go into the rainy day fund. And so that has helped us to build that up. We have, usually at the end of around this time of year, There is some additional revenue. There are settlements with businesses over what their taxes, and we get payments for that. That wasn't counted in the normal revenue stream.
Now, I hear you're stirring the pot again. What's this? I hear you're listening to our children. You're actually trying to bring them in and solicit their input?
Well, I hear from a lot of people. I hear certainly from senior citizens on a regular basis. I hear from businesses on a regular basis. But I have not heard as much from young people, from high school age and college age kids. And so I've done a couple of things. One is that I've always, for a number of years now, visited the schools, talked sometimes to classes, sometimes to like the student council and the class officers, and continue to do that. But I've created a Senate Youth Advisory Council. We've got usually one or two, or Valley Tech's case, 4 students from different communities throughout my district. And what we put them together one time. We'll be meeting again in the middle of November. And these are students that are very bright students. They're in sports. They're class officers. They're doing very well. 2 of them, I think we've got about 32 involved. 2 of them are likely to, certainly going to be applying to service academies. Some are applying to some Ivy League schools, so they're not slouches.
So when the old movie said, how are we going to expect our children to be trustworthy if we don't trust them?
Well, that's exactly what we're doing. What the best thing that I think, and I've already started getting some interesting feedback, there are a number of bills that we have that really directly affects them. One is there's a bill that just had a hearing in the Committee on Education, which would raise the required age of attendance to 18 from 16. Now that's going to have an impact on kids. It has an impact on families if we do it. I don't know if it's going to pass yet, but there are arguments on both sides of whether we should do that or not. But what I do is send that out, email that out to the council. We ask them preferably to talk to some of their classmates, talk to their teachers, bring it up in class, whatever they want, however they want to get the information, and give us the feedback. What does their group think?
What a radical concept, Dick. You're talking about a bill directed at 16-year-olds, and you're asking the 16-year-olds what they think.
Well, and I think it's, they're still people, and they may not be voters yet, but they still have opinions. And the one that was, I think, pretty interesting, we just got some response back. I saw that California just passed and signed into law, Governor Brown signed, a law that would allow a young person to, if they had put, as a younger person, say in their preteens, had put something up on Facebook, a photo or something
right.
saying, and as they get a little older and hopefully some maturity,
they say, "Oh my God!"
They say, "Oh well, this isn't good," and to give them the ability to require that it be taken down. Now, probably some of it still exists out there in cyberspace, but at least isn't on their Facebook page or things of that nature. Because schools look at that, businesses look at that and stuff,
Well,
and
it's
can have a
amazing how
dramatic
many
effect.
kids, even at college, when you talking to them saying you're about to go apply for an internship, have you looked at your Facebook page
exactly.
with the drink in your hand and the sombrero? And is that really the first image you want me to look at?
It's like I've always been told, if you don't want to see a story that's not complimentary on the front page of the local paper, don't do it.
Right.
And yet sometimes when
and don't brag about it by putting it on your own Facebook.
Well, some mean things have been done. Bullying has been done on cyberspace. But so what? In fact, I'm in the process of drafting a bill like that for Massachusetts. But we asked the members of the council, "What do you think?" And most of them came back after they had talked to students and others. They think it's a good thing. I did get a comment back from one of them, which was pretty interesting. Said, "Well, I think it's a good thing, but we also should be more responsible about what we put up on Facebook."
Hallelujah! You're taking a step that says you ought to be more involved, but you're a kid. We won't let you. Now all of a sudden you're saying, "Here's an avenue."
Oh, they're able to make a difference because I will listen to what they have to say and we'll vote accordingly and try to get that input. And so we're following through and we're going to make them involved in the discussions.
November's coming. I can't not say the word casino. It's becoming a really interesting debate here because I can see both sides. I can see the people who came to Milford, have generations in Milford, They're saying, if 75% of the money goes, maybe I'll save half my taxes. Well, that's $2,000. That's a lot of money.
Sure.
But I hear people saying $150 a month. I don't want to give up what I love. On the other hand, I hear a lot of seniors saying, boy, at average home $4,400, I'm really kind of at my limit to what I can afford.
It's like a major industry coming in. It will bring traffic. It will bring some other concerns. It may also bring some money. Who knows? For the community, or for at least to reduce some of the pressure. I don't know which way it's going to go. The vote in Milford is important, but it's not the final decision. If the people vote for it, if they vote no, then it's
we can
final.
Kill it.
Yeah.
We cannot approve it.
Right. You can approve it in the sense of
we can
going
move
to
it
the next
forward
step.
To the town meeting.
Town meeting, and then to the gaming commission.
Then we're one of three.
Yeah, and from my analysis of what the gaming commission will do is they'll look at the three. They'll look at which ones. Are they supported locally, and what's the level of support by surrounding communities? Even though they don't have a direct vote, they do have some say in it. And then they're going to say which ones are producing the most revenue for the state.
Well, isn't the Gaming Commission charged with picking the best deal for Massachusetts?
For the state, because we've already, in effect, pre-authorized spending for a lot of things, just as the agreements that the towns make with the casinos would do. So they're looking for how do we make this good for the state.
I have not heard anybody argue the point that we shouldn't have casinos in Massachusetts.
No.
We got one in Connecticut or two. We got it in Rhode Island. So we're pumping out tens of millions of dollars.
To other states, because our people are going to those
I'd rather
states.
keep that money here. The problem is NIMBY, not my backyard.
Well, and I've heard people say, I'm not against casinos, but I don't really want one here, and I suppose that's a legitimate position to take, that you're in favor of the concept, but not the reality.
It ought to be interesting, because when I talk to the casino people, 75% of the people are against it. I talk to the, casino yes people, 75% are for it. I mean, old Portuguese math says...
Yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are holding back.
Oh, I think and you don't know which side of that. I mean, a lot of business people certainly do that on any issue,
Well,
because
I've had a lot of vendors tell me, Al, I'm not going to go public, because if I say I'm for it, probably half the town will be annoyed at me. If I say I'm against it, the other half.
So it's a no-win situation for a lot of folks.
Better for them just to smile and
they'll vote and do
they'll
whatever
vote
they
at the
think.
ballot box.
And I think I'm not a resident of Milford. I represent Milford, but I'm not a resident. So I don't have a direct vote now. I had a vote on the issue of casinos, which I voted for. We're told that the bill that we passed is probably the best one of any state, that it's got more protections in it for local as well as state interests.
Dick, at the end of the day, you're giving me, being Milford, the ability to say yay or nay.
Sure.
If I don't want it as a town, if we don't want it,
vote no.
all you need is 50% plus one to say no.
Right.
We're done. How much more could we want as a town?
So you have a viable proposal. You have the ability to say yes or no. The legislature won't.
You can't play.
We won't impose it. We don't. The only vote actually we get now, which we'll do in the next few days probably, is the casino proposal for the Native Americans, which is down kind of in the Taunton area. It looks like is the site. That we have to ratify. We can't amend it. The governor's negotiated it with the tribe, and we vote yes or no.
But
and then
it's in our hands. I mean, what I feel
This
good
is
about
sure.
this, Milford cannot say, you forced it on me.
No, and it's really not up to me to tell people. I don't tell people how to vote anyway. Except in the Senate, I try to encourage them to vote certain ways.
Well,
but it's not. I ask for their votes for myself, but I don't tell them how to vote on other issues, on the ballot questions.
I have one strong opinion on this. I want people to vote.
Yeah, I hope there's a strong turnout, whatever way they go.
Shame on us if we don't.
Yeah. Well, it's one issue that has a very direct impact, positive or negative, or both, on just about everybody in this community. And so if there's ever a reason to get out and vote, whether you want it or you don't want it, this
Well,
is the time
Dad,
to
you gave
do
me
it.
the gun and the bullets. I've got them in my hand.
Yeah.
Whether I choose to hit the target or not,
Yeah.
it's
So
now with me.
It's an important decision for the community to make. It'll, for better or worse, it will change the community, whether they agree or not, or don't agree. It'll have some impact on the community.
As
I
always-
wish it wasn't as sometimes it got a little
Divisive,
contentious,
yes.
divisive, and you hate to see a community.
So I
as-
say, I
as-
can
as
see
co-
both sides.
yeah, as much of a community as Milford is, you hate to see it pulling apart. And I hope that whenever the decision is made, that it's done, that people are able to
No,
kind
it's
of.
Milford. We'll growl,
heal.
we'll snarl either way. And
Well,
on
if the Red
November
Sox, if the Red
15th
Sox keep winning and the Patriots win, most people will be happy with that.
there you go. Well, thank you as always. And to our 6 loyal viewers, again, the message, get out and vote. Let people know your opinion, whether you're for or against any article. And the casino's a big one. But overall, make your opinion heard. Have an impact. This is our town. Center of the universe, as always. We have 28,000 people who know Milford's the center of the universe.
That's right.
6 billion have to be educated, but we'll get there. And as always, good night. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. May God bless, and may tomorrow be a better day than tonight.